Welcome back to today's episode of Keto Over 50. We're getting into the fall spirit of things. I am going to make Keto Pumpkin Cheesecake Bites. It's a 2-part recipe with a cookie filled with lovely pumpkin fluff. I'm so excited. They kind of remind me of another recipe that I make where you make like a peanut butter cup and you fill it with chocolate. Only these are going to be like a spice, almost like a gingerbread style cup filled with whipped pumpkin filling. I'm so excited. Let's get going. Welcome back to Keto Over 50. This is RJ. I'm so excited to see you here. And you need to stay till the end because I have the finishing touch for these bites. We're going to call them bites because they're not muffins and they're not cookies. They're just going to be really fun and delicious and exciting. Let's get started. As you follow along, don't worry. I'll have the recipe down below in the description so you won't miss a thing. Now I have 1 3/4 cup almond flour here. And to that, I'm going to add a 1/2 cup of brown alternative sweetener. I'm using allulose monk fruit combo. We have some ground cinnamon and some clove and some ginger, which is going to make it have that gingerbread taste. It's going to be so good. Now this recipe asks for a 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. And if you watched one of my earlier videos where I used baking powder instead of baking soda, that's why I thought I'd take it from the box instead of pre-measuring it, just so you'd get that mental image of the baking soda box, because we don't want to mess that up and use baking powder instead. So a 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. It's an easy mistake to make, isn't it? And just a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I swear the palm of my hand is an exact 1/4. You know, the salt is a catalyst for the baking soda and makes things bake and congeal and rise. It's actually why you have to put salt even in sweet recipes, because it creates a chemical reaction. And I'm just going to whisk that together so that it's all blended. So when you're eating one of these, you don't get a big clump of clove. It is ground clove, but you know, a big old taste of ginger or clove. I wish we had smell-o-vision. You would love this. You would be, oh, your mouth will be watering for this. Wait until you see how these turn out. And now I'm going to add a 1/4 cup of melted butter. This is just like anytime you make a pie crust, you need some liquid to hold it all together. But that's not all. Okay, so it calls for 1 egg white. And since I have about 18 cartons of liquid egg whites, you could use 1 fresh egg white. And 3 tablespoons of the liquid egg whites equals 1 egg white. And of course, a 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract, which I always go just a little heavy on. You don't have to. I just like it that way. While I'm mixing this, I want to thank today's sponsor. We have the SciBio Continuous Ketone Monitoring System. I'm wearing it. You can't even tell, right? It's right there on my arm, super small, don't even know it's there. And what this does is it continuously monitors your ketone levels in your body 24/7. And when you look at the app, which I'll show here, there are even alerts that you can set. You want it between 1.5 and 3 for optimal ketosis. And this is such a great tool to monitor and see how you're doing while you're on keto. You can tell too if you have a certain meal. How does that affect your ketone levels? How about exercise? After some vigorous fitness, what does that do to your ketone levels? You're going to find out when you try this. They work for 14 days. You just put it on. It didn't hurt at all. Didn't feel a thing. You can check after you eat a certain meal. Like if you have steak and broccoli, that should keep you in ketosis. This is the confirmation you're looking for to know that you're doing it right. I remember when I first started on keto, I was using the urine test strips. And aside from my being germophobic, and I didn't enjoy doing it, this you just put on. It's neat and clean. And I have a special offer for you to save 5% on a SciBio sensor. Just go to scibiosensor.com/RJKeto. Of course, that's what the URL is. And I'll put it down below in the description and have it right here for you. To save 5%, just use that URL and then enter your promo code Keto Over 50. Of course, that's what it is, right? Some things are just so natural. So anyway, give that a shot. I just love all gadgets. So the idea of having a keto gadget really makes me happy. I like that. It's exciting. And this one is just amazing. Okay. Do you see what I'm doing here with this whisk? I don't think that was the correct tool. Speaking of gadgets, good grief, RJ, get it out of there. You know it's going to be like a crust texture. So I knew that. I just wanted to mix it, and I don't know why I didn't want to use a fork. I'm being blonde today, through and through. That's awful. You just need a fork. Look at that. Well, you want a whisk to get all the dry ingredients together. But once you get to this point, I have another shortcut for you, because the recipe says make balls, like 1-inch balls. And then you put them in the mini muffin pan. You want to use, I'm always so bad. I always say I would make a terrible dentist because I never know. I want to move it this way, but it has to be moved this way. So I get goofy. Okay, so I want to tell you something that I can't believe I'm even going to tell you this. When I got this, it was like that. All the cups were inverted. And I thought, that is the stupidest muffin pan I've ever seen. And I looked it up on Amazon because I thought, well, maybe when you put your dough or whatever in there, it'll smooth them out. And I had it upside down. Sometimes I'm like blonde times 10. I can't even believe it. So move this here. I can't believe I told you that. I may edit it out. We'll see. Okay. So anyway, the recipe says to make balls and then put the balls in the molds, and it makes 12. Now I'm going to teach you something here. This is a 24 mini muffin pan. The recipe makes 12 of these. You don't want to just do them all on one side, because I could just do these 3 rows of 4, or this side, or here and here. What you want to do so they cook more evenly is spread them out. I'm going to do probably not the corners, but inside, maybe right down the middle. And that way they'll cook more evenly. So anytime you have a pan that you're not filling, whether it's a donut pan or a muffin pan, you want to spread them out in the pan. The recipe, she said, make balls out of it and put the balls in. And then you still have to use your fingers to bring the molds up, and you wanted the cookie up on the sides. And I thought, I love my gadgets, right? So I thought, well, I could just do this. I could just make little balls and then move them around. I think I'm going to stick. Look at how much easier that is than making balls in your hands. Oh, if there's an easier way to do something, I'm going to find it. I could have been an efficiency expert for a big corporation. 2 little balls, a ball and a half. Oh, RJ, I do make myself laugh. I hope you're laughing in the kitchen when you're cooking. Get the little ones involved if you have grandkids. Can't do that if you have dogs. They'd just be the taste testers, right? Okay, so I have done that, and I still have more dough, and we certainly don't want to waste this dough. So I'm going to expand now, but I'm going from the center out, as you can see, so that they will cook evenly. Okay, I just had way too much. I had mumbo jumbo about filling these up. You want to go from the center out or space them out. And I have 16, 17. The recipe called for 12. So I have really mini muffins. And I got this little scooper. You're going to need it later when they're hot, because you want to press them down and build up the sides. And it really is a job for your fingers. But I thought to get started, I would use this. If you have something, a bottle, you can use that to just really get that done. And what we're going to do is we're going to bake them and bring them out and let them cool for about 10 minutes. They'll be really puffy. You won't even know there's a well in there. And then we're going to let them cool a little bit, and then we're going to press them down again in the middle. My little plastic scooper helped to make these deeper wells, more deeper. Okay. Oh, you'd never know I was a writer. And you just have to swirl it to pull it out so it doesn't stick. So that's it. We're going to bake these for 15 to 20 minutes at 325. And again, I'll have the recipe down below so you won't miss a single ingredient. Now we're going to make the cream while the cookie base is cooking. And you're going to add 2/3 cup of powdered sweetener. This is allulose. And I got a 5-pound bag of allulose. Now, if you don't use powdered, it's going to taste gritty. So you want to make sure that you use powdered. I don't buy powdered allulose anymore. I just use my NutriBullet, put it on that, pulverize it. Then I keep it in 2 canisters. The original, which is like granular, and the other, which is powdered. So that's a great tip. Don't waste your money buying 2 different types of alternative sweetener. And this is a 1/3 cup of pumpkin, pure pumpkin. And again, the recipe was very specific. You don't want to use like pumpkin puree. You just want pure pumpkin, and you want it to be the thicker, pastier kind. Mine was it was the last can I had, and it was a little runny, so I dabbed some paper towels on it just to take out that extra moisture so it won't hurt this. And we're going to add 1.5 teaspoons of pumpkin pie spice and a 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract again, of course. The last time I used this, I broke my Sunbeam Mix Master. Oh, I never should have thrown it away. It was just broken under here. I got this new one. And when I use something powdered, it's so powerful. I have to learn to remember to leave it in till it stops spinning. I always turn it off and pick it up, and everything goes everywhere. I'm going to set the pumpkin mixture aside for a few minutes while I beat whipped cream, heavy whipping cream. And it's just 1/3 cup, and you want to beat it to stiff peaks. Are you seeing where this is going? Yeah. What am I going to do with this? It's not just topping. So you can see we have stiff peaks here, and we're going to gently fold the pumpkin mixture into the whipped cream mixture. Come on. Oh, there we go. Okay. So that's what the muffin cups look like. And we're going to set them out to cool. Oh, and wait until you see how I finish these. I have a real surprise, a holiday surprise. Okay, so I can see why the pure pumpkin needs to be thick, because otherwise this would just be way too runny. But this is almost like a pumpkin pie mixture. It would be if it had eggs in it. So you want to just blend this until there are no more streaks, so you can't see the whipping cream, the heavy whipped cream, and the pumpkin mixture separately. These have been sitting out for about 10 minutes, cooling, while I made the cheesecake fluff filling. And see, I thought this would work really well. It's just a scoop from one of my protein powders. Okay, so now you see these little wells. Can you see that? I'm just using this to push them in. I thought that would be just perfect. But you could have a little spice jar or maybe a cosmetic bottle. Just wash it really well before you use it. And I can use spoons. I could use like 2 teaspoons or a tablespoon. Look at that. I have wells. Yay! I'm always trying to encourage you to get creative. This might not be a good idea. I don't know. But I took a Ziploc bag, a gallon freezer bag, and I cut a little corner off of it, and I put one of my smaller inserts in there. Let me see if you can see that. One of my smaller inserts in there. I have a star tip, which would be perfect, and the keeper on it is not really going on. So I'm kind of half anticipating that when I squeeze to fill these, it's all just going to explode. But when you want to fill a pastry bag, just put it in something deep and steep, and that way it will fill up. Okay, I'm going to let these cool just a little bit more. They still feel pretty warm. And I put the pumpkin whipped cream filling in the fridge, which I should have done as soon as it was made, because it would have a little more texture. I'm anticipating this star tip to just melt out. Oh, these smell a little like pumpkin pie. The Keto Pumpkin Cheesecake Bites are fully cool. I put the pumpkin filling in the fridge for a little bit, and I don't think it's going to firm up. Okay, I am interrupting this regularly scheduled program for a fix because I can't do this. I know it's fun to have a fail once in a while, but the cookie is so good, it deserves an actual filling. I have the oven heating up to 350. I have some brown sweetener, brown sugar, monk fruit, Lakanto, and I'm putting in about a quarter cup. I have the rest of the soupy filling that I'm going to squeeze in here. Look, I hate disasters, but there's almost nothing you can't come back from. And I have a little bit of, see how thick that pumpkin was? So the eggs are going to cook this, and watch this. There's almost nothing you can't undo. So I'm going to empty all of these in here too. Okay, I've emptied all the little cupcakes, the little mini muffin bites, back into the bowl. I'm adding an additional quarter teaspoon of pumpkin pie spice, or maybe a little bit more. Like I said, this would be Seat of Your Pants production if that name wasn't already taken. I just can't leave these this way. But the 2 eggs are going to bake up into a beautiful custard. So I have a casserole dish that I greased with butter. And I'm going to bake this probably 30, 35 minutes, maybe a little longer. I'll let you know. We got the muffins on the witch. I don't know why that bothers me. I don't want her to not be able to breathe. Okay, so that's it. And I'll see you back here when the custard is done. Hey, you know, some of the best bowlers aren't just the ones who make strike after strike. Sometimes it's the ones who can pick up the 7-10 split. And I always think of that when I make a recipe and it's not where I thought it would be. But it was an epic fail. And I'm not going to give up because you've got ingredients invested. You've got time invested. So I baked pumpkin custard. You saw how I did that. And I'm going to fill these cups. The cups look a little sad at this point because, oh gosh, they're kind of messy, but it won't matter. It really won't matter. You know, this is still a little warm. It's like 8 o'clock at night and I want to get this done. So we're going to do it. And then we're going to put them in the fridge on a smaller plate so they will be just perfect. Look at that. We're just going to make this, what was it? It was supposed to be 12 and I got 17, I think. So now these are going to be like little pumpkin pie tartlets. I didn't even get to the pumpkins last time, that I have some little pumpkin toothpicks. I was so distraught. I couldn't even worry about the pumpkins. I was more concerned with the wicked witch. Okay, so we've got those and a little ready whip, because what's pumpkin pie without some whipped cream? So we could put that. I probably could have done that before I put the, okay, let's try that. Stick them in there. Oh, much easier. What was I thinking? And imagine you put these out at a party. They're going to disappear before you have time to say, where'd those go? So now instead of Keto Cheesecake Pumpkin Bites, we have Keto Pumpkin Pie Bites in a ginger snap crust. Let me see. Worth pursuing. I'm going to fix this recipe. I'm not even going to put up the original recipe. I am just going to make it the way I made it and have you make a pumpkin custard in these cookie bases in a mini muffin tin. These are a treat extraordinaire, and it was almost a fail. That's why never give up. No matter what you're doing, there's always a way to improve things and make them better. But this is like 100% better. I am so excited about these. Smiling like a jack-o'-lantern. I hope you stayed till the end to see what I did to fix these. These are going in the freezer. I'll take them out when I have company and hit them with some fresh whipped cream topping. They're worth making. I'm going to fix the recipe. It'll be down below in the description. Thank you for joining me once more. This is RJ for Keto Over 50. And I'll see you next time. Stay beautiful. You know you are. We're working on it, honey. We're working on it. See you next time. Thank you.